Most often than not, people talk about how hard they had to work to be successful. But come to think of it, there's energy put into failure as well. In her book, Wake Up and Live, Dorothea Brande talks about the will to fail. If this is something you're interested in, then you should definitely keep on watching. Hello, I'm Joan Amani, and on this channel we talk about non-fiction books. For today's episode, we're going to be talking about a book titled Wake Up and Live by Dorothea Brande. If this is your first time coming in, you're very much welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, well, I'm happy to have you on board. And let's get this started. Dorothea Brande was a writer, and she published this book in 1936. The book starts with her explaining how hard it was as a writer to get to a position where she actually got to complete her writings, whether they were books, whether they were articles, whatever she started, she couldn't seem to finish. And even when she did, she didn't finish it in the time frame which she would have loved to. One thing about the book that I love is the idea that we put as much energy into success as well as failure. We always have this vague imagination that the lazy person actually uses up no energy. But come to think of it, they do. It takes energy to think and it takes energy to do nothing. While I was reading this book, I had to reflect on myself and my life, because that's the best way to read a book. You think about what you've read and try to relate it to your life. And as I went through this book, I was thinking about my life and how much energy I put into failure. At a point in my life, I promised myself that I was not going to fail at anything, whether it was an exam, whether it was a business, at work, at relationships. I just told myself, I'm going to do my best to make it work. Whatever it was, I was going to make it a success. Success for me at the time was not being idle. I had to fill my days with reading, writing, doing anything just to occupy my time, to give me the illusion that I was being busy or I was doing something meaningful. And as much as I occupied my time with meaningful activities, I still wasn't feeling fulfilled. Something was lacking. And when I came across this book, Wake Up and Live by Dorothea Brande, it just clicked to me. We actually put a lot of effort into failure. When we talk about failure, we're not just talking about the person who doesn't achieve their dreams. We're also talking about the people who achieve dreams that wasn't meant for them. For instance, if you were made to write and you're like a CEO in a company and you're unhappy, technically you're a failure to yourself. We're not looking at success in this situation as success that is determined by external forces, but a success that's determined by your internal self. She talks about putting in your best work and making sure you get to your goal. What if it was impossible to fail? What would you have done differently? I think that struck me about Dorothea Brande's idea of the will to fail was that we live in a world where being busy, being occupied, having something to do at every single moment, for us, we've termed it being successful. You're not successful because you have a big car or you whatever success the world has portrayed to you. You're successful because you are fulfilled within yourself and you're doing what you were created to do, the best way you were created to do it. Most of us don't even know how amazing we are at something until we actually start it. Okay, I'll take myself for example. When I wanted to start this YouTube channel, I struggled. I actually had to start this channel in 2018 and this is 2021. I failed for 3 years to start a YouTube channel. First, because I was worried about the materials. I was worried about the time. I felt I was too busy to start a YouTube channel, and I felt I wasn't actually good enough to start a YouTube channel. I procrastinated and I did every other thing except start the YouTube channel. We bring ourselves back and we push ourselves to the will to fail. We push ourselves towards a negative direction rather than putting in the energy where it's going to benefit us. There's a lot to unpack from Dorothea Brande's book. She doesn't only talk about the will to fail, she also gives you practical lessons of how the will to fail is manifested. 3 lessons I learned from reading this book. The first lesson that popped up in my mind when I read the first chapter of this book: failure is comfortable. If you don't take risk, you're in your comfort zone, you're happy, you're chilled, and yeah, why should you stress? Life actually is good. The second reason is that failure takes up our energy and we feel like we're busy actually doing something. For instance, I spent my energy working, writing, doing other things except starting my YouTube channel about 3 years ago, and I kept telling myself, I'm busy, I'm busy, that's why I haven't started. I'm busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Failure actually takes energy. Or just procrastinating, like I will, it takes up your energy, and sometimes it makes you feel like you're already tired and you have a lot going on. There are always excuses to push you away from actually doing the work. The third thing I learned from reading Dorothea Brande's book: failure has company. I remember when I was in the university, in my first year, I actually failed. I failed well, and I went up to the list. I looked at the list and I realized I wasn't going to my second year. I was heartbroken. But when I looked down and I saw other people's names who weren't going with me, I was like, it's not that bad. I'm not alone, And it just reminded me of the fact that we actually act like that a lot. Failure has company, and at that time I had failed. I wasn't exactly remorseful of the fact that I had failed. I didn't think about how bad it was that I had failed. I was just happy that I wasn't alone. I didn't feel alone. I had company. And I like this book because it's eye-opening. A lot of people don't like failure. If you're comfortable and you feel like company, you have company in the failure, everybody is looking for a way out. And sooner or later, you might find yourself alone. Thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope to create more beautiful content like this. Like I said, this platform is for people to talk about books, not just myself. This is our YouTube channel. I'd like you to pick up the book Wake Up and Live. I actually got it on Amazon, and I'm going to put the link in the description box. You can get a copy, and if you can't get a copy, you actually have an audio version, I believe, on Audible or on YouTube. I think I found a YouTube link of the book. I'm going to also put in the description box just so you can listen to it and get the idea of the will to fail and why we fail and what we can do to become better people. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I want you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great week. Happy Monday.